Hi, it's Lolita from Fiveplus.uz. Welcome to our online IELTS course. I hope you will enjoy it because I'm going to be your instructor for the rest of the course. Alright, today we're going to discuss IELTS writing, which consists of two parts, Task 1 and Task 2. And at the end of the class, we will wrap it up with some vocabulary related to education. Before we start discussing IELTS writing, I would like to recap everything you know or you don't know yet about what is IELTS writing. It consists of two parts. Task 1, which is a report part where you have to describe data, meaning you will be given a graph of certain type. We will discuss the types of graphs in further classes, and you will have to just report the data. So it's important to understand that there's no place for opinion. All right. And task 2 is an essay part where you have to answer the question given. You have to answer it carefully as there are different types of task 1 as well. Some more information about IELTS writing. All right, so the weightage is different and the length of your writing is going to be different as well. Task 1 is just 150 words compared to Task 2, which is 250 words. So you have to distribute your time carefully and wisely. Let's talk about unit aims. For Task 1, we're going to talk about trends, which is the key of IELTS Task 1. And we'll talk about related vocabulary, which is noun and verbs, to describe trends properly. Unit 1, the topic is change and consequences. Unit aims for Task 1 will be describing trends and learning how to use proper nouns and verbs in the context. And we'll also try to understand how to describe data. Task 2, we're going to learn how to understand the question in order to be able to write a proper essay answering this specific question. We'll also learn how to write solutions, and we'll talk about linking words, which are cohesive devices at the same time. All right, let's get started. Exercise 1, you can see on the screen different types of lines. These lines are taken from a line chart, one of the types that are going to be covered in your IELTS Task 1. So you can see there are different patterns of lines. For example, some are even, or there is upward or downward trend. Some of them are going to be changing in direction, like going up and down. This is very important because it gives you the key idea of what kind of changes has happened or are going to happen on your graph. All right, let's take an example. There's a picture you can see. So now we know that there are different types of lines and they have different trends, upward, downward, or they're going to be even or not changing. Here's the picture. It's being divided into two parts. One part shows you the past of technology, some outdated devices. And the other part shows you those which are trending right now, something that everybody uses. Okay, so let's take a landline phone. So you know what is landline phone? It's something that our grandparents used to use for phone calls, like something with a wire. Nobody uses it right now. And we can say that trend A, for example, has a downward trend. The line is going down, meaning that people has stopped using landline phones in the past, and this trend has been relevant till now. Now let's talk about smartphones. Doesn't matter what type of smartphone, what brand of smartphone, for example, Apple smartphone. Everybody uses Apple, maybe not everybody, but the majority of people. And nobody is going to drop using iPhones one day, meaning that it will probably have an upward trend, which is going in, for example D. You can see that it's not even, it's fluctuating, but still it goes upward. Now let's go into details, right? Here you can see on your screen, there are verbs related to trends, and you can see there is an arrow going up. It means that we're going to describe upward trends. For example, rise, jump, grow, climb, increase, and soar. There are many more, but you just have to focus on these ones. Learn it first and try to put it into practice. Next, you have the downward trend or downward arrow, which shows fall, drop, decline, decrease, plunge, or plummet. These are the verbs you can use in your task 1 to report the data. Sometimes there is no change or unchanged trends, where you can use the word stay or remain, meaning you do not move, you just stand in the same position. So stay constant or stay stable. Now we're going to talk about fluctuation. Fluctuation is a good word to remember because sometimes you have to report the overall idea of the graph. Some key points that your eye catches the moment you take a look at the graph. And most of the line charts, as we're talking about line charts today, will have a variation in direction of the line. So you can use this word in your overview section. And the last one is adverbs to describe trends. It's not enough to just use verbs, because you have to be able to describe the character of upward or downward trends, whether it is sharp, right, or it is very steady. For example, the sales of consumer goods or the sales of iPhones has dropped significantly in the last 5 years. It means that the sales dropped considerably, or people stopped buying iPhones compared to the past. Okay, exercise number 2. We've covered briefly what are the trends, what type of trends you can describe, for example, upward, downward, and something that is not changing at all. Now let's take a look at some sentences. For example, you've got 8 lines and you have to match each line with one sentence, depending on what verbs and adverbs are given. Let's read the first one, which has been done for you. Sales of audio cassettes fell steadily. So fell is a downward trend. Steadily means not too much, okay, just a little. And we can see that it's given under the line G. Let's take another example. iPod sales rose gradually. Rose gradually means that it went up, not too fast, but we can still see the trend which is going upwards. And the answer would be the line C, which has a very gentle change on the graph. Before you start doing the exercise, please make sure that you underline the key vocabulary given in each sentence. In this case, it's a verb and an adverb. So each sentence consists of 2 or more. The first one has fell steadily, second is rose gradually, then fluctuated widely, the word we have discussed, dropped slightly, fell and then leveled off, rose gradually, climbed sharply, declined dramatically, and so on. All of this vocabulary is going to help you determine which line to put under each sentence. Alright, so I hope now you get the feeling of how to do this exercise on your own, and you will spend some time comparing different types of lines given from A to H, and you will be able to do it with 0 mistakes, right? Just make sure you understand what kind of changes or what kind of trends are being described. Let's move on. Let's talk about structuring sentences, right? So some grammar point in the video, but it's not going to be boring, I hope. All right, so you know that there are some verb phrases such as fell steadily, climbed significantly, or dropped considerably, for example, right? And it's a good way to construct a sentence such as the consumption of chocolate fell steadily. All right, we have the consumption of chocolate, which is your noun, fell is your verb, and steadily is an adverb. It's a proper English structure of the sentence. So noun plus verb plus adverb, a structure that every IELTS student is familiar with. Now let's talk about there is, there are, if it's present tense. Usually the structure or the formula looks like there, verb be, okay, adjective plus noun. We've discussed the example. Now let's change the same example using there was. There was a steady fall in the consumption of chocolate. What has changed? Now the sentence starts with there was, and you also rewrite the part with verb and an adverb, which becomes your adjective and noun, meaning there was a steady fall. Steady is an adjective, fall is a verb. All right, so there was a steady fall in the consumption of chocolate. The same sentences, but put in different ways. So the same meaning, but it will really help to be able to construct not just sentences under similar patterns. Sometimes you have to rephrase, and it's a good way to use this structure for paraphrasing. Let's take one of the sentences given in your exercise and do it together. For example, the purchases of ticket dropped significantly last month. All right, where is the noun? The purchases of tickets, this is your noun. Then, dropped is your verb and significantly is an adverb. Last month is just for you to make sure that you're using a proper tense, which is past simple, as you have last month. Let's change it. So now we have to use there was or there were, depending on the quantity, right? In this case, you are going to change it into there was a significant drop in the purchases of tickets last month. I think it's as simple as that. And you will be able to get it done in just 5 minutes. Another trick is to use noun phrases and try to change it a bit, and it will also add to the fact that it's considered to be a paraphrasing. So even though, for example, you can say the consumption of chocolate, all right, it has 4 words. What about chocolate consumption? The same, just put it differently. Another example is the development of new products fell gradually. Okay, the development of new products. What is it? New product development. I hope you understand it. And it doesn't mean that you have to use only the second part, the second option. No, it gives you the range of structures you can use in your writing. I hope you will be able to do the rest of the sentences on your own. And now we are going to discuss the summary of task 1. So we've talked about trends using the example of a line chart. Basically, there were just lines taken out from the line chart, but it did give you a great experience, meaning you experienced how some of the lines can be different from each other depending on data you are describing. Then we've also talked about verbs and adverbs, which are used in order to add some characteristics or some illustration to what you actually see on the graph. All right, so it can be upward, downward, but reporting solely the verbs, meaning go up or rise or drop. It's not enough because every line is different. Every point on your chart or the whole line is going to be different from another one. This is the whole idea of writing task 1. You have to be able to differentiate and compare at the same time. All right, then we talked about some verb phrases. You can restructure, all right? Something like noun, verb, adverb, or put it simply in another way, there was or there were, plus adjective, plus noun. And the last part was noun phrases, which are being divided into 2 parts. For example, the production of films becomes film production. The second part of task 1 in this unit is understanding data. Now you can see a line chart, a proper line chart taken from one of the IELTS exams, and there's a question, okay, which sounds like, the graph shows the income of 4 cafes in New York over last year, okay? And your task is to summarize the information by selecting and reporting the main features and make comparisons where relevant, all right? Before you start reporting the data in your task 1, okay, make sure you understand the graph itself. So the first thing you will have to do is to take a look at the horizontal line and the vertical line of like 2 axes, X and Y. Okay, so the horizontal line represents 1 year and it's being divided into 12 parts, okay, 12 months. They're not going to write the whole name of the month because it's going to take a lot of space, right? So you have to use your logic to distinguish, okay? For example, the first letter is J, it means January. And I hope you know the ordering of every month in a year, and it will be easy for you to describe it in your report. As we talk about income, we're talking about money, right? And you can also notice that there is 000 with S. It means that the data is given in thousands, meaning where there is, for example, 100, it means 100,000. That's how you have to report it in your task 1. Okay, apart from that, you have 4 categories shown on your graph. Okay, these are the names of cafes. And we're going to also notice that some of them have certain trends and they can be kind of grouped together. For example, there is an upward trend among 3 cafes, which is the Internet Express, Wi-Fi Cafe, and Cafe Cool. Even though there is a clear fluctuation part in it, you can eventually see that 3 of these cafes are going upwards at the end of the graph, compared to the first one, the tea room, which illustrates the downward trend. All right, so once you've figured out the key elements you're going to report, usually it's comparing and contrasting data, as well as making sure that you understand what are the categories given, right? Both axes, meaning horizontal line and vertical line. You are well set and you are ready to start developing the ideas. So now let's take a look at exercise 9. There is a report, meaning a proper task 1 report, as an example given to you, and some of the words are missing. You have to fill in the blanks, right? But before you do this, it's advisable for you to understand each blank space, whether it is noun, whether verb, or an adverb. Maybe you won't have enough time to do during your exam, but okay, now you're practicing. Please take your time and try to figure out first the part of speech, okay? Each blank consists of, and then only try to fill it in with given vocabulary, A to G. It's exercise 10. Good luck. All right, let's now jump into task 2. We are going to discuss how to understand questions. Understanding questions can seem or can be very easy if you really understand that there are some trigger words you have to pay attention to. Most of the students make a lot of mistakes and they fail their exam due to the fact that they do not read carefully the question and they start writing in the wrong direction. Meaning they, for example, instead of answering using their opinion, they just discuss the question and that's all, or they give advantages and disadvantages. As we know, or we will discuss it further in details, that there are 5 types of task 2 essay question. So the first one is opinion, second is advantages and disadvantages, then you have discussion, problem and solution or cause and solution, and the last one is 2-type essay. Okay, so there is no such thing that, all right, you have to study opinion because it has greater possibility that you'll get this kind of question. No, you have to pay an equal amount of attention to each and every type of essay. Okay? So, for example, there are some words that will signal and that will give you a clarity in how to structure your essay, the whole essay part. Сейчас посмотрю. Так они называют. Okay. These words are called organizing words. For example, if you see the word advantages and disadvantages, all right, that's how you immediately know that you have to write the advantages and disadvantages essay. But sometimes you can be given a synonym, and I don't want you to be frustrated at that moment. So you just have to make sure you know all the synonyms that can go under these words. For example, instead of disadvantages, you can see the word drawbacks, or advantages could be substituted by benefits, and so on. On your screen, you can see some of the examples of organizing words, such as reasons, okay, benefits, advantages, disadvantages, measures. So what is measures? Maybe it's the same as steps. What kind of essay can consist of measures or steps? Probably it's solutions. What kind of steps can be taken to solve this problem? All right, now you can see 4 task 2 questions on your screen. These are the examples for you to get a better understanding of what I was talking about. All right, so in many situations, people who break the law should be warned instead of punished. To what extent do you agree or disagree? Meaning, I've highlighted the agree part. So now you know that's an opinion essay, but nobody is going to highlight this part in your actual exam. You have to be able to do it yourself, okay? Next is, today, many people do not know neighbors in large cities. What problems does this cause? And what can be done about this? What is the key word? Organizing word? It's problems, and not about your opinion, advantages or disadvantages, and so on. Meaning you have the statement or the problem statement, usually sentence, and then you have the question. This is where your judgment comes from. Okay, again, you've got an example to get the feeling of how the question is going to look like during your exam. Let's read it out loud. Okay, more and more people claim that modern work patterns are a source of stress. What do you think are the causes of this? Can you suggest some possible solutions? All right, so the A question is, which part of the question states a problem? Now you know that the first part of the question states the problem. The problem is that modern work patterns are a source of stress, meaning that people live in a very stressful world right now, okay? So they have to work, they have to raise kids, And usually this part is talking about word, okay? So you have to address the whole essay in terms of work stress, right? Despite the fact that you've got a lot of other sources of stress. Next, which 2 words in the question are important for the organizing of your answer? Definitely, you've got some words, right? Organizing words, which are, in this case, causes and possible solutions. So it's a cause and solution essay. I guess it's simple, right? Okay, we will talk about structure and how to structure your paragraphs, like intro, body part, and conclusion later on. But for now, you have to understand that every part of your essay depends on how you understand the question. In this case, you will talk about causes in one paragraph and about solutions in the other paragraph, or probably you'll have 3 paragraphs. Okay, so it depends on you. Now you've got the question. Let's try to maybe imagine that you have to write your body part. Okay, so your body part has distinct organizing structure. Okay, so the first is going to be your topic sentence, where you state the problem. Okay, the next one is example, and the last one is going to be some kind of result. For example, in order to discuss the solution for stressful work patterns that people encounter on their daily basis, okay, some of the organizations, they can encourage workers to relax. All right, how can you encourage somebody to relax, especially, for example, your boss wants you to relax? Sounds like a miracle, right? But in some multinational organizations, there are such facilities as massage or spa therapy provided to some of the workers that who perform well at work. Okay, so this is going to be your topic sentence. I think the most obvious solution is for employers to encourage workers to relax. Topic sentence, full stop, that's it. Next one is your example. A good example to support your topic sentence is, for example, provide massage therapy, okay? Or they can also include some kind of gym facilities at work, where workers can just go and train whenever they feel stressed, or maybe there will be designated slot of time, for example, during their lunchtime or after their lunchtime, when they can exercise, okay? And here you give an example. For instance, in some companies, gym facilities or massage therapies are available. Well, great, we've got 2 examples, and this is something that it sounds unreal, but it takes place in some of the well-known companies. The example, relevant to your topic sentence, okay? And then for this example, yeah, there should be some kind of result. Otherwise, there will be no need to come up with some solutions, and if they don't bring any results at the end. Okay, so in this case, you can say, by doing this, they can improve their efficiency and production at work. For example, if you've got an employee who's very stressed all the time, they take work home, they are sleep deprived, okay, they have children at home, and they have to tackle with lots of responsibilities at work, it's impossible for them to perform well, okay? Probably they will not be able to meet their deadlines, or they won't be able to write proper reports, or they will confuse the data, and so on. Okay, so it's a good result. All right, guys, we've covered task 1 and half of your task 2. We will continue in the next class. Thank you for being here, spending your time. I really appreciate it, and see you on the next lesson.